Wisconsin's braids.
See this bridge?
Why did it say welcome to Minnesota? This is Wisconsin.
Well, there's a state line goes right through. So on one side is Wisconsin, on the other side is Minnesota. Across the town, you kind of go back and forth across the lines. Oh, see that bridge over there with the big arch?
Oh, that one?
That arch, the span between the arches raises all the way up to the top of the arch to let tall ships go through.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
What is this building?
In a quarter mile, take the I-35 north exit toward Minnesota 61.
Which raises up so large tankers carrying ore can go through, and any other boats that are too big to fit under it, it'll raise up. It raises up at the top of the hour and at the bottom of the hour for just pleasure boats and that sort of thing. And is September 15th, I believe.
Yeah.
2019, and we are on the Vista Star on lakes in the harbor of Lake Superior. We're getting ready to go for a harbor cruise.
My name is Jess. I will be your tour guide throughout this tour here. Along with us here we have First Mate Hannah. Down on First Deck Bar we have got deck hands Maddie and Elena, and captain today is Mike. As we get underway here, just a few safety announcements. As you're walking around the boat, it's a pretty calm day, but you never know what you might encounter, so make sure you're just watching your step. Use a wide stance if it gets a little rocky. Use the handrails as you're going up and down the stairs. As you're going through the doorways, notice that there are some raised sills. They're there to keep water out. Just be mindful of those. Make sure to step over them. They are very good at tripping feet.
See that little house on top?
There is absolutely no smoking allowed on the Vista Star, and it is against U.S. international law to throw anything or anyone overboard, so please refrain from doing so. Feel free to take a whole lot of photos today. Go onto social media. Tag us, Vista Fleet Duluth, on Facebook, Instagram. We love to see your photographs, and gives us some good exposure as well. First thing, we're coming up on the aerial lift bridge, Duluth's most iconic structure, and perhaps the most photographed bridge in all of the Midwest. The original lift bridge is much different than the one that you see today. Built in 1905, it was built as a gondola system that ferried vehicles and people back and forth across the bridge. Obviously became a little inefficient as the population of the Twin Ports grew. So they finished the bridge to its completion the way it is now in 1929 and has been unchanged since. So there are two bridge tenders on duty 24 hours a day. Each one works a 12-hour shift. They'll lift the bridge up upwards of about 4,500 times during that busy shipping season. As the great city of Duluth, to the right, or starboard, is Minnesota Point. It is a 7-mile long sandbar. If you look all the way to the end, you can't really see it through the fog today, but sometimes you can see a little white structure. That's the lighthouse that marks the Superior entry at Wisconsin Point, which is the natural entry to our harbor. Beyond that is another 3 or 4 miles of sandbar, together making 10 miles of sandbar. It's just the longest freshwater sandbar in the world. As a reminder for all you folks on second and third decks, if you get a little hungry or thirsty, we've got refreshments down on the first deck. We've got concessions along with a full bar and so there are many dramatic theories about the original use of the mausoleum here. One story claims it was a Prohibition-era gambling house. But the truth of the story is neither glamorous nor grim. This mausoleum was no burial site, but it was a sand and gravel hopper, as mentioned before. The hopper held sand from where it was sent through a tunnel into trucks. Whitney was likely banking on a planned breakwater to expand the harbor, but it was never built, leaving the mausoleum unprotected. So Whitney's operation shut down and was abandoned in 1922, just 3 years after it was built. On a hot summer day, if you look out there, you'll see a bunch of brave people swimming out, climbing to the top of the mausoleum and diving off of it into the frigid waters. So it may not look like it, but Interstate 35 runs right along the shoreline ahead of us. It was first planned as a 4-story tall overhead freeway, which would have blocked Duluth from its lakeshore and been vulnerable to freezing spray from waves kicked up. Duluth citizens demanded a better design, so engineers routed I-35 through a series of tunnels that protected the roadway and enhanced Duluth's connection to the lakeshore. 1,000,000 1-inch square tiles, and there's a visual timeline of shipping here in the Twin Ports. The mural reads from left to right, with the left portion depicting the oldest history of the Twin Ports, and the right side depicting the present day.
Wait, that?
It's created under the direction of local artist Mark Moreno. You notice a white dome-looking structure there. That is the Northland Vietnam Veterans Memorial.
Wow. That's cool.
The stone features the emblems of the 5 branches of our armed services. Behind it stands a wall engraved with the names of the 136 men from this area who did not return from the war. The memorial was dedicated on Memorial Day 1992, was funded totally by private donations, and was designed by a local veteran, Dwight Nelson. Brick building with the red water tower and tall smokestack is the old Vickers Brewery. It's the Vickers Brewery complex today. Built in 1881, it brewed Vickers' famous beer for almost a century, except during Prohibition when it bottled soft drinks and made candy bars to stay in business, or at least that's what they told the government. So as soon as Prohibition was over, they were back to selling their beer immediately. Vickers closed in 1972 to make way for the freeway, but before it was torn down, the interstate was rerouted through the tunnels and the building was spared. It was then renovated and reopened in 1984 as a shopping and dining complex with restaurants, pubs, and a historic hotel. Many reminders of the old brewery's history are visible throughout the building. You can go in there and get yourself some really delicious burgers and some really delicious beer, visit all the neat little shops. And also there's a hotel there as well. So you see that big blue staircase leading up from the lake walk that goes up to the Portland Malt Shop. It was, I believe, Duluth's very first gas station once upon a time. It now serves up ice cream throughout the summer. On a hot summer day, you'll see upwards of 200 people in line waiting to get their ice cream. Sometimes can wait for a good 2 hours.